All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to MCR 4, day 16. We're in our finance unit. Hope everyone is doing well today. So in this part of our finance unit, we're going to really focus on order of operations and then how to apply those to simple and compound interest. And we're going back through order of operations because the formulas have a little bit to them and you really need to be doing it correctly order of operation wise. Ideally, you would like a calculator that has this caret button as well. And that's for exponents. That's going to be the easiest way to do these versus if you have one that has this button. So I would advise one that has the caret button representing exponents. When we're doing these, you can always do order of operations step by step on your calculator as long as you click the equals each time. So instead of trying to do something really lengthy, you could hit equals every time and then you don't have to worry about all of the parentheses. And then the other caveat I'm going to say is you want to keep all of the decimals until the very last step. With finance, we're dealing with money. We need to be correct down to the penny. We don't want to start to overround. All right, so I would advise you to pause the video now and try a few practice problems just to see how you're doing with your order of operations and then come back. So for order of operations, it goes PEMDAS. And when you have multiple parentheses, you go inside, then outside, and follow order of operations within the parentheses. So for something like this one, you've got two options. You could either type it in the calculator as 1,000 times 1 plus 0.05 divided by 4. That would be perfectly fine and you should get your answer. Or you could type in the parenthesis part, hit enter, then multiply by the 1,000. Either one is up to you. Okay, so over here in my calculator, I'm going to type in 1,000 times, and this is doing it all at once, divided by 4. So that's option 1. You should get 1,012.50 cents. Option 2 is to do the parentheses first and then hit enter. Then multiply it by the 1,000. That's what I mean by the step-by-step method. You hit enter every time to reset yourself. So if I were to do number 2, I would do the parentheses first. If I want to do step-by-step, just hold the decimal there. Then that's where I want my caret button to the 60. And then I'm going to multiply by the 300. Okay. If I wanted to do this all at once, I could. It just depends on how good you're feeling here. So I could type it in all at once as well. Just make sure you put the parentheses in the right spot and you really do get the same answer. And this is round to the 100th. 100 is 2 decimals. And again, it's money, so really make sure that you do have it rounded correctly. And then this one was 112.5. It didn't have a second decimal. And this, again, whatever method you like using is up to you. You'll have time on your 154 to hit enter if you need to. You know, you're not going to be crunched for time. This one, you could do it all at once or go inside parentheses, then raise it to the 5 times 12, then do the 2750. So all at once, it would be 2750 times 1 plus 0.036 divided by 12. And then it would be raised. Now this part you have to put in parentheses as well, 5 times 12. And that gives me my answer. Or do the step-by-step method. It is completely up to you. So here's the calculator if you want to write it down. It's the 2750 times 1 plus 0.036 divided by 12, caret 5 times 12. And really practice with your calculator in the MCR 4 portion. That way you're not frustrated in the 154. Practice the calculator now. So again, I've got these two ones. Different calculators work different ways. If you have the caret button, you can follow with me. If yours is a little different, just make sure to practice with it. And then always carry out decimals as long as you can. Don't round until the very end if you do it piece by piece. Okay, so then this next one, we're gonna put them into algebraic formulas. So if I have this formula, P of N equals P of O, 1 plus RK and K, and I'm given the PO, the R, the K, the N, I wanna solve for this P of N. First of all, anytime you're given a percent, that's 7.5%, when you put it in an equation, it needs to be divided by 100 and put in as a decimal. Percents automatically need to be divided before we put them in that equation. Then we can put all of our items in. So this says P of N equals, and we're just filling in variables right now. 12,500, 1 plus R, K is 4, raised, and then this NK needs to be in parentheses, N times K, or you can just put 4 since it's 1. So typing that in your calculator, it's going to be 12,500, 1 plus 0.075 divided by 4, caret 1 times 4. Sorry, I'll give you the times button there. So it's going to be the 12,500 times 1 plus 0.075 divided by 4 to the 4, or the 1 times 4, whichever one you want to write. So you get that answer. Going step by step, I would go parentheses first. 1 plus 0.075 divided by 4. And then I would raise it to that 1 times 4 power. So parentheses, exponents, then multiplication. Go in straight order of operations here. And I get that same answer. All right, and the finance unit, it's money. So when in doubt, I'm going to go to 2 decimals. And then for question 5, same idea. We're going to solve for P of N. Excuse me. Equals 800, 1 plus R. Okay, and again, the 2% is 2 over 100, which gives us that 0.02. Divided by K, raised to the N times K. Okay, so that's going to be, I'm going to go step by step here for those of you that like that method. Parentheses first, then exponents. Oh, and that needs to have parentheses. Enter, then multiplication. Oh, did it again. All right, then continuing on. Now to the meat of this, we were getting towards simple interest and compound interest. So these are your simple interest and compound interest formulas. At no point do you have to memorize these. Simple interest, you have 3 formulas. You've got an interest formula and a total amount formula. So I is your interest. PO is what you're starting with, the amount you put in the bank or whatnot. R is going to be your interest rate and decimal form. Same thing over here. It's the interest rate in decimal form, and it's per year. And then T is your time in years as well. And over here, N is the number of years. I highlight that because if it's not given to you in years, you need to convert it to years. So say you're given something for 4 months. You need to convert that knowing 12 months is in 1 year, and have it be 4/12 of a year or 1/3. But you've got to put it in as the fraction of a year in the formula. Compound interest, initial value, R divided by K to the NK. K now is your compounding periods in 1 year. And it'll say compounded monthly, compounded daily. So if it's monthly, K is 12. If it's annually, that is once per year, K is 1. If it's quarterly, 4 quarters and $1, so K is 4. And those are just some common compounding that you'll see. If it's weekly, then K is 52. And then just a quick note, normally with daily, that's 365. If you're ever mentioned the banker's rule, it's 360 days, not 365. Just a note there. So those are our two formulas. And the question is going to clearly say, this is simple interest, this is compound interest. Banks have to clearly tell you, this is simple or compound. If you take out a loan, if you take out a mortgage. So it's never going to be one where you have to guess, oh, is it simple or compound? It should be spelled out for you. All right, so here's some problems we can try. If you're feeling really confident here, you might want to pause the video and try these problems on your own. And at any point, pause and try when you feel good. So on this one, Jessica borrows $525 for 60 days at a simple interest rate. What's the loan's future value? Oh, sorry. First it says what's the interest on the loan. Sorry. And it mentions this banker's rule. So to find interest, I have my interest formula. It's PO times R times T. It said simple interest. I'm going to the simple interest formulas. Now let's see if hopefully we have all the pieces we need. So I'm going to go through. What was PO? It was the 525. What was the R? Okay, it's 0.059 because I'm going to take that 5.9 and divide it by 100. And then hopefully I have a T. Here's the catch. T is in 60 days and they want us to use the banker's rule. So 60 days, there's 360 days in a year for the banker's rule. So T is going to be 60 out of 360. Don't reduce it. You don't need to. We'll put it right into the formula as is. So the I is going to be PO times R times T, which is 60 divided by 360. You can put all that in the calculator at once. Multiplication and division is left to right. So I end up with 516 as the interest. And then when it says what's the future value, that's this A, which is the amount later, is principal plus interest. So principal plus the interest. That also makes sense. It's what we're paying total. So that's 530.16. For the second one now, it says compare it using 365 days. So all that's going to change is our T. Our T is now going to be 60 out of 365 instead of out of 360. So I is going to be 525 times 0.059 times 60 out of 365. So that's going to give you 509 for interest. Then for the future value, it's going to be the 525 plus the 5.09 or 530. and 9 cents. So using the banker's rule kind of shortens that year. So you borrowed it for a little bit longer, you pay a little bit more interest. Okay, and that is where I'm going to stop the video. You have some practice problems down here. So look for the solutions on Canvas and make sure to send any questions if you have them. Have a wonderful day.